Howdy, folks. Welcome to another day in the Milky Way. And today is Thursday, the return of Ryan SK and Mr. Kent Nichols. How y'all doing tonight?
Pretty good. How are you?
Doing excellent. Actually, you know what? I am doing excellent. I'm actually feeling better. I know with all this crap going on, I'm feeling good. So hopefully we're gonna bring a little bit of that positivity to everybody else tonight. We're gonna start off with a little bit of what they're throwing at you, but
Yeah,
in the end, we shall overcome.
exactly.
I'm feeling pretty good. I mean,
Mhm.
I'm actually kind of finding this whole false flag to be kind of comical. I guess maybe that's a little diabolical, but I just see it for what it is, and it just doesn't have an effect on me other than maybe some annoyances of having to really listen to a lot of really nonsense. But it's awesome to be here tonight. I haven't seen you for a while, Ryan, and it's
Yeah,
always good to see you, brother. And
yeah. Good
of
to
course,
see
it's
you.
always good to see you too, Brian. So
Always a
absolutely.
pleasure, my friend. Like you were saying, you're seeing disruptions now from all the mad people out there. And, I do believe you're going to see more, with the closing of some of these borders and things like that. One thing I find very curious, though, is, here they're shutting down borders for people coming from Europe to America. But that doesn't include if Americans want to go to Europe, hey, that's all good. They can go wherever the hell they want to go. What's the sense in that? And why did we send 30,000 troops over there?
Well, you just throw military at everything, and it solves everything. We're all safe then.
Wouldn't you think we'd need them here more than over there? I mean, to me, that's just something fishy
Yeah.
going on.
There
I
is
mean,
something fishy going on with that. Yeah, anything military smells fishy, because we're not under attack by anything. None of us.
No.
So when there's military deployments,
Maybe a way of life,
yeah,
but
yeah.
I kind of look forward to the simple things again.
I look forward to the simple things again too. I'm with you. I'm kind of like, let it crumble. I wish it was crumbling, but unfortunately, in 3-4 months from now, like every other one of these false flags that they throw at us, they just disappear, and then they're just gone. But all the rules that they implement with them all stay. So, seen it before.
Sure.
It's this seems to be a little bit more of a mass production of it, and even in the what I would call the smarter spiritual communities, man, I hear people running for the hills, like they're just like the paranoia that they're spouting in there is just, I haven't even responded to any of it because I gotta be like, it's just, well, it'll show the way it always does. So.
I love the quote, when you are in fear, you are inferior.
Yeah, that's a great quote.
I'll tell you what, let's see who's here real quick. And then I want to get Ryan's opinion because he actually works in the healthcare industry somewhat. So let's see who we got get going here, and then we'll get rolling. Miss Debbie Bell, how you doing? There's Pure Love Ascension. Good to see you. David Castle, what's going on, my man? Miss Deborah L. Smith, Breaking Dawn, good to see you. Rick Yorkin, yes, you are here, buddy. Welcome. Who else we got going on? Brad McMurray, what's going on, bub? Jules M, welcome, welcome, welcome. Zigzagzilla, what are you doing? Morning, dude. Yeah, what are you into? Tina Bop 123, how you doing? Good to see you. There's Johan. Jesse McCartney, welcome, welcome, welcome. Good to see you again. Who else we got going? Love, Joy, Wellness, Massage. Shoot, I need one of those. Scott Severini, good to see you again, bud. T-Cat, welcome back. Tony Cherie, welcome, hon. Candy Apple, they rolling in. Mary Wins, what's going on?
Right on.
Let's see, I feel like I'm getting there. Saturnian Sun. Okay, I knew I was going to get one. All right, so Ryan, you're right smack dab in the middle, the heart, New York City, the Big Apple, and you work in the healthcare industry. What are you hearing?
All right. So basically, what we're getting in New York now is exponential expansion of the number of the virus cases. So we're up to about a third of what the entire United States has. We have 328 confirmed cases right now. out of about 1,000 that are in the country. So one major problem with this whole thing that's causing all this panic is that we really don't have a way of testing it. Other countries do. So for example, South Korea is able to test 20,000 people per day to see if they have this. And if they do, then they just basically just treat them, and they've been able to keep things under wrap because of that. But we decided not to get any of the tests because we said, well, we could do it ourselves and better. And we tried to do that, and all of our tests failed. So now we're at the capability where we can, the largest institutions that we have can test like 30 to 35 people per day. And only about 8,000 tests were actually run in the entire United States compared to like South Korea. Like I said, they do 20,000 per day. So
in a drive-through.
yeah, so basically we have a lot of people that don't know what they're doing, and the outcome is panic, mostly on the part of our officials, because they can't diagnose anything. And we have 328 confirmed cases, but without testing, it's probably in the thousands by now. Now, what you've heard about this being a super virus, it is a little bit worse than the flu, but it's nothing that people should truly panic about. Like if you take all of the cases that have been established since we started testing, death rate is about 0.7%. And that was in South Korea when they started tracking all of this after the initial scare in China. So that's about maybe 3.5 times worse than the flu, which isn't too bad. Originally, they said, oh, this is going to be 20 times worse. Remember SARS, that was 18% death rate versus 0.2 for the flu. So this is nowhere near what SARS is. This mostly it has mild symptoms in 4 out of 5 people. So like the flu, elderly people are the most susceptible. Some young people could still get pneumonia and be hospitalized from it, especially if they have clotting disorders or asthma or some kind of chronic disease. So it is something that you should take seriously, just like you should take the flu seriously and other infectious diseases. To go to this point, though, where everything is shut down, I think the reason that they're doing that is because they really don't know how to handle the situation, because the people that are in charge are used to being in control. They're not in control now because this is something that they did not foresee. So right now they're talking about shutting down the whole city. Like all gatherings of 500 or more people canceled, parades canceled, Broadway shut down. Yeah, everything's pretty much shut down in New York now. All the museums are closed. Anything that has a capacity to hold more than 500 people, which is pretty much everything in New York City, because there's 8.7 million people here. So schools remain open, subways remain open. Some of the colleges have closed, but a lot of it is just people like running around, not knowing what to do. For the most part, the people here, like the civilians, not too worried about it. Like there's not really a lot of panic. Like people are showing on the media, they're showing worst case scenario. They're showing people like Febrezing their kids. Like I don't know if you saw that clip, but like there's one place that didn't even have any coronavirus cases, sending their kids to school like covered in like hazmat suits and spraying them with all these like Febreze. Like every once in a while something will show up. Like for example, there was about a week ago, somebody went on the subway with a can of Febreze and was spraying all the Chinese people because he thought that Chinese people were going to give him coronavirus. And I mean, that's another thing to watch out for, because there's a lot of racism involved with this too. And I even said a couple of months ago to you that they're going to make China the new enemy. They want us to hate China. Let's see what they do. And then sure enough, this virus comes out and we're supposed to hate Chinese people. So we have to rise above that and not hate or be afraid of any one group. Like China is actually plateaued now. Like their cases aren't skyrocketing. They've been able to get it under control for the most part, because again, they have testing. They did some quarantining and then they did testing, and the testing was effective. And like now they have it pretty much under wraps. Like it's pretty much a plateau for a long time now. But we just aren't at that level yet because of basically our pride. We thought that we didn't need it. Like we don't need these tests. We can do anything that they could do but better. So we just rejected all the tests, and now we're stuck with not knowing who has it and who doesn't. So, and like plan B is just quarantine everyone, which is unfortunate. Like most people are more afraid of the quarantine than the actual virus, because the virus most people will get over. But quarantines, who wants to be quarantined for 2 weeks straight? It's like that. And people are panicking, getting like toilet paper for enough for like 2 years for 2 weeks. And that's the situation right now, basically. Like a lot of people are just like fed up and have had enough of the situation, like with the incompetence mostly in the leadership rather than the fear of the virus itself. Because, I mean, while we should all be cognizant that, like, well, if we do get sick, we should definitely not be out in public just for the sake of other people around us, because we don't want to get other people sick with this when it is so hard to diagnose and when it is so difficult for some people who might be older or have some diseases. You don't want to be the reason that another person has to suffer a lot. So for that reason alone, you should be very careful. Like, just don't try to do too much if you feel sick. Just stay home and just, like they say, wash your hands, don't touch your face, just little things like that. There's no reason to panic, but just be cautious and just consider other people. Like that's the thing that gets lost in all of this when people panic. You just have to think not only of yourself, but what's best for people around you.
That's a
Well,
very good point.
You were talking about New York City and that they haven't closed schools. So they've already closed or are closing schools around here. I mean, the universities, everything. They've
Yeah, they
canceled
close
all
a lot of
sporting
colleges.
events.
They leaving the public schools open because the mayor said, well, who's going to watch the kids? I think he kind of forgot that schools closed in summer for 2 months. So I don't understand that reasoning really. Because I mean, who watches them for the 2 months in the summer? It's like
sounds pretty good for the kids, anyways. You know, when
I'm sure a lot of them want to.
I didn't have to go to school, I'd be like, yeah, that sounds good to me. I'm
and the teachers are already calling in sick. The teachers are calling in sick. The substitutes aren't responding, so there's already like difficulty in getting teachers to even show up. And a lot of people take the subway or the bus where there's going to be like 50 to 100 other people just in the vicinity around them. So like they don't want to take the chance really, like in an environment like that. So it doesn't really make sense, some of the measures that they're taking. Like they're closing museums, but they're leaving public school system completely open, all of the schools.
Kent, what's your take on it real quick? And then I've got a point to bring out. And how is it in Canada?
Oh, I think now Canada, well, of course, I mean, anything that happens in the US, the little patsy governments in Canada usually just follow suit. So, you know, if the NBA shuts down, then the NHL will shut down and the schools will shut down. I mean, Canada in a way is the next state of you know, the US, except for with another crazy rule that you can't like cross borders and stuff like that. Because I mean, we've talked about border nonsense before, how absolutely ridiculous it is. It's just all checkpoint. It's all fear point. It's all the same as these points. Something crossed my mind actually when you were saying, you know, they're checking and then they're putting out all these checks for coronavirus and stuff like that. And just the aerosol spraying in the air, like the chemtrailing, crossed my mind really quick when you said that. And I just kind of thought, like, you know, what are they checking for here? You know, across the world, are they checking for the effectiveness of the aerosol spraying down upon all of us? Or, you know, I see this as the red flag. I mean, we always are dealing with colds and flus and all these things. Most of them generated by our precious little cabal governments, by the way, and stuff like that. Very few of them actually naturally developing. And I mean, their stories for how they come about are comical at best. But I'm with you. And you know something? When you were just talking there, and we're talking about the schools shutting down and these systems shutting down, I just had a great thought for everybody in the Awaken community at all. Let's take this opportunity to look at life a little bit without all the ridiculousness, without all the big medias, without all the big going to watch the movies and the sporting events. Good, let them go. Hopefully they stay away for a whole long time and we forget about them because they're garbage anyway. So, you know, we can always focus on the positive. The fear that they throw at us is literally taking away what they give. Like
True.
when I say what they give, I'm talking what the media gives, what the, like they got us so wrapped up that they think when they take away the NBA from us, we should just panic more. What the hell are we going to do without the NBA? Oh my God, what are we going to do without, professional hockey? How about a couple buddies get out there and throw a ball around on a court and don't worry about the money and stuff like that? If you love the sport, get out there and do it yourself. Don't go watch somebody do it. All these things that the deeper meanings, we could focus on ourselves right now.
No, I'm actually
go to work, we'll meditate for a while.
Yeah, not to
Don't
mention
worry
spiritual
about it.
growth, meditation. I mean, there's so little time for that in today's world for a lot of people, because it's just everything's on the grind. And then when you're off from work, then you look for things to do. And if there's nothing to do, then you could just spend time with other people, spend time with your friends, spend time with yourself, meditation, spiritual journeying. So, I mean,
That's
these
what I
are
was going to
things that
say.
are
I've
way more
actually
valuable.
I've seen a lot of people on Facebook and things like that. They're showing themselves painting or playing music and
Nice.
things like that. So you're already seeing
Mm.
people revert back and be like, hey, let's get creative.
Yeah. Like,
Absolutely.
what did we do before all these things?
If I was down in the US right now and not in Canada, I'd be going over grabbing you guys, and we could maybe all pile over to Richard's place. And we could sing songs and make music. Who knows? Maybe we'll be the next big hit band. I have no idea, but a little bit about ourselves. I've talked before about loving your brothers and your sisters, and I don't mean you're necessarily just your blood brothers and sisters, people that are around you.
Yeah.
That's part of the false system that we're within. When they talk about false idols and stuff like
trying to isolate us from everybody else, including ourselves.
Use
Us from
that
our
to
own
your
minds, isolate
advantage.
from other people.
Use it to your advantage. That's the way I look at it.
Absolutely. You know what? As funny as it is, even sometimes when I'm sick and I do get one of these viruses, or the universe puts one on me, I swear sometimes I have the biggest spiritual growth moments in those times. Just
especially
I don't know
when you're
what
starting
it
to
is.
get over it.
You're focused on different focuses, and you're away from all that distraction. So I mean, I feel like they're going to play the monetary system thing, through this. I see the deviousness of it. I see the push into the kind of the one world government, the one world monetary system. I know that the popes and all of these other jackasses are signing their little papers and putting their little fish hats on and praying as hard as they can, to their whatever the heck they pray to, to bring that upon. Well, let's just take this time for ourselves and look at and focus on, if they want to pray, if that's what you want to do. I call meditation prayer, or calling in, whatever you want to.
Whatever works for you.
Yeah, like let's make that, we got to keep it positive. We were said that we're going to walk through, if this is end times, if this is the change time, if this is an apocalyptic time, well, we're going to have to learn to walk through the enemy's plays, without panicking. And we have to learn to be that. So, if we can be leaders at these points in time when anybody's freaking out, you know what I mean? And maybe don't go buy the toilet paper or something like that. I don't know what it takes to be a leader through this one, but let's do that and just stick with our journey, and yeah, we'll be we'll be okay.
Like I said before we came on, to me, this is just one big test that the population is failing. But to further that, that's even more of a reason for us to shine now brighter than ever.
Absolutely. If you can't, you sometimes you need the darkness to come at you, the nonsense to come at you, to test your armor a little bit, to test your resilience a little bit, I tell you, one of the biggest things in this world, and it sounds funny, it's not, I'm not scared of the enemy. Like, put them there right in front of me. I'd love to see them line up on my front lawn. Let's go. I would love it, but the hardest part is that it's such deception, mind deception. So basically, you know, I could be talking to my son, I could be talking to my friend, I could be talking, you know, and you see the mind deception that's being worked through the system, coming through them, and you know, is how to deal with that. You know, how do you deal with when you see those around you that you care about, that you love, being affected by you know, these type of things, and you know, that's a real learning point for us all, because that's actually probably, you know, one of the toughest parts of, I would call, the awakening journey, you know, is that, you know, when people don't really see what you see and you try to explain it, but they attack you, and you have to learn ways not to attack back at them, because we've all done that, where we, you know, like, you know, snap back at them, and then it actually creates a cycle, whereas the only way through it is to set the example. In the nonsense, you still have to set the example and see how it works out, and wait for them to see. And if they see it, then they themselves will see through it and change, you know, within themselves. So, you know, we could sit there. You could talk to somebody that isn't ready to hear something and tell it to them over and over and over. It won't matter. But if they actually see little things and little ways in your behavior, and not being afraid, and not, you know, giving into it, then you see it stimulates a little bit. I did this in the Home Depot with this one lady who we were joking. She was joking around about now they were going to run out of paper towels, because basically everybody in you know, is taking all the toilet paper. And I was laughing. I said, oh, we get along well, because she was aware. And then I went and talked to another guy, because I had to go to a different store to pick up something. And he said to me, he says, yeah, I don't know, this virus, maybe they're trying to bring in the one world government. I'm going, we can get along too there, brother. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, people, what we do is making a difference. And it, you know, sometimes you don't see it when you stick your head in that mass media mash, but you know, when you get out and you talk to people one-on-one, which is what we should be doing anyways, you know, that you actually do see differences and changes happening. So
yeah, get out there and walk the walk too. You know, I find it kind of fun or peculiar that these third world countries like Mexico and Iraq, Iran, that area all over there, these underdeveloped countries, they're the ones that don't have any cases at all. You would think that that would be more of a place to originate.
Well, I think it's partially because their medias aren't hooked into this fear, you know.
Or maybe they're not testing.
Yeah. And less people traveling there too. There's so many sanctions. So they could actually be lucky in this case.
True.
They don't have to worry about that, at least. They just have to worry about all of our sanctions and our bombs, because they have stuff that we want, like oil.
I got a question from chat real quick. Aurora Rain wants to know, what about gang stalking? I'm dealing with it big time.
With what was it?
Gang stalking.
Gang
stalking. What's that?
You know, harassment, like groups coming in and harassment.
Where is she living?
Yeah.
Where she
was, situation?
New York, I think. Up
well,
in northern
I mean,
like looting. Like, I don't. Yeah.
Can you elaborate?
There's so many levels of what I would call gangs that we live within. The military is a gang. The policing is a gang, and then you have the, you know, the organized crime gangs, and you have all of these things coming down. But I mean, it's just kind of I don't really have to deal with you know, organized crime gang or anything like that, kind of where I am. So I don't know if I'd have to put myself in the situation to know exactly what she's saying.
My buddy Jake,
we're constantly attacked by gang mentality. I mean, really, government itself
that's the ultimate organized crime.
Yeah, organized crime. That's what it is. It's a gang, and they got their sections of it that enforce their organized crime rules, coming down to the police and to the military. And this is actually one of the saddest parts about everything that nobody seems to understand. And I have a guy on my Facebook, and he's constantly fighting it. His name's JDL, and he but he said, he pointed out something the same as me. We're the 99%. They're the 1%. We're doing most of their bidding for them. And that's the really sad part. And I don't mean everybody necessarily in this room, but you know, we grow up and then we think, okay, no, it's good that we go into law enforcement. It's good that we go into the military. We need to do this. We need, you know, these movies show me like I'm a hero. I'm this, you know.
We willingly enter their creation.
Yeah.
So they create the matrix around us, and that we willingly participate in it.
Yep.
Because we think that it's going to be
participate.
Yeah,
absolutely.
We think that it's going to be beneficial for us. Meanwhile, it's all false. Like one thing that we should also keep in mind is that with all the hysteria going on now, our ancestors, they had a much tougher time than us, and they dealt with it. They were happy. They understood even just like being outside, the seasons. Like right now, spring is around the corner. We're a week away from the spring equinox, when it's the return of daybreak, and the days being longer than the nights. And like everybody's not even focused on that. Like nobody's focused on anything natural anymore, because people are so worried about this virus is going to come and get them, and like what's going to happen with like what are they going to shut down next? What kind of martial law will be enacted? So like all of this is really like it's all like just something that you really need to get back into nature and get back into like the ways that we evolved in, and the way like be one with the spiritual laws instead of just the man-made laws and the mental prisons that we have grown accustomed to, that we are that we don't want to leave for whatever reason, because we feel that like it's our comfort zone.
Real quick, I misspoke. My buddy Jake said in chat that there actually is up to 10,000 cases in Iraq. So.
Oh, in Iraq? I know Iran got hit.
Or maybe it was Iran. Yeah, Iran. It was Iran.
Iran, yeah.
That's right. Iran even their health minister got it or something. Yeah, I forgot all about that. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I think the other like Yemen, I wanted to Lebanon has some cases. I think Yemen is pretty safe right now, and maybe Iraq and Afghanistan, all the nations that were already pillaging.
But I'm like you. I think this has all come out of like, you know, we've been seeing food shortages come up for God all year long, and now you're seeing, you know, manufacturing's been shut down in China for a while, and now they're shutting down the U.S. They're shutting down across the world. I just don't see how there's any way we could come back from this economic collapse.
Yeah, it's going to be very difficult, but that's the major focus that a lot of people have had in the U.S. Like all the media is focusing on the economy rather than just limiting the disease itself, limiting the spread of disease, which is certainly possible. I mean, we've seen it in other places like China. They plateaued. South Korea has done an excellent job. They test 20,000 people a day. We don't even test people. We've tested 8,000 people total. So we don't even know who has it. That's how far behind we are for the country that's supposed to have like the best everything in the world, best healthcare. We're like at the bottom of all the developed countries. It's kind of ridiculous, actually. And we're like, because we spent all our money on the military. So even now, like they sent the National Guard to north of the city to enforce the like the quarantine over there, because we had most of the cases come from the north. Now the city itself has a lot. So the answer to everything is just military, with like rather than common sense, rather than intelligence. It's just like you said before, just throw the military at everything. That's what all the money is going to. And it's kind of ridiculous. There's no way of really resolving things.
Yeah.
Let me ask you, you work in the pharmacy field. What are they prescribing for this? What are they recommending? I know washing your hands is first and foremost, but
yeah, well, with viruses, there really is nothing that you can give. Some people recommend Tamiflu, which is for the flu virus. Other people say it's like BS; it doesn't work at all. So for the most part, people are just talking about prevention, and if you have it, then you have to follow the protocol. Just quarantine yourself, and if you develop pneumonia, then go to the hospital. They'll give you antibiotics, because pneumonia is a secondary infection.
Right.
So that's bacterial that you get from the suppression of from the virus itself, causes a secondary infection. That's usually bacterial pneumonia. So that's what people that are dying from it, that's the reason that they're dying, and the people that are having the worst morbidity are from the actual pneumonia. Same as the flu, really. Like the flu causes secondary illnesses like pneumonia, and that's what causes most of the deaths. And again, it's mostly in the elderly. So the initial reports that we saw were over 80 years old, the mortality rate is 15%. So most of the deaths are there. It's probably lower than that once we get all the testing done after this is finished. But that's where, again, like the flu, most of the people who die are elderly. So the people that are young shouldn't be as worried, but should just be cautious not to just walk around sick, because it could be something that's a lot worse in older people. You don't want that around like your loved ones, like your mother and father and family members and friends that are older. You want to just be careful and think of the other people that might be affected.
Yeah, they're saying some of the symptoms that go along with this, that unlike the flu, you're going to have a fever of at least 100.4, and there's no phlegm related with this COVID-19. It's a dry cough, but you do feel aches and pains, things like that.
And it also presents differently in different people. Like some people get more of cold symptoms, and those are the mild cases. So they might get like, so they say basically like if you get more of a cold symptoms from it, like you could get runny nose and sneezing, but those are the milder cases. The worst cases are the ones that have like a dry hacking cough, and that's what develops into pneumonia. So
yeah, I think plenty of fluids is paramount.
Yeah. And also another thing
that's generally a good thing for anything that you're dealing with. Keep yourself hydrated. I mean, the natural body needs to be hydrated.
Oh yeah,
and get out in the sun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Head to the beach. Head to the beach in Mexico and drink 12 Coronas.
Man, there ain't nothing better than the sun. That's why I was saying with spring right around the corner.
And when does cold and flu season end? In April, in the spring. So we're having all this panic now, but the cases really should diminish by a lot. Just next month, April. So once April hits and the warm weather comes, you get very few cases of the flu or even the common cold. It can happen. Like there are some isolated cases here and there, but you generally have flu season from October through March. And then after March, then that's it. You don't have to worry about the flu anymore. So coronavirus is related to the common cold, and it should really present the same way. So next month, at this time, a month from now, we shouldn't really be seeing a lot of cases from it. They'll probably still hype it up. Like, look, people are still getting it, which people still get like the flu and the cold but just at such a lower rate. Or another thing, they could just take credit. Like, look at what all the quarantine did. Like now we don't have any cases. It's all because of us. Like they'll take the credit, the governments. Meanwhile, it's something natural that just when the warm weather comes out, then you just get less people that are sick, and the people who do get sick get less complications because they don't have like the mucous membranes aren't as dry, because everything is really like it's different in the springtime, whereas in the winter, like the mucous membranes are a lot drier and it's easier to get sick. Your immune system's down. So there's a lot of things that are factoring against it in the winter that in the spring, then you just don't get these types of illnesses.
Yeah.
And it's already late winter now. We're a week away from spring. So I would advise, even if people are worried, if they're like older and prone to illness, like it's just a few weeks left of cold and flu season, and there's no reason to think that this coronavirus is so much different than all the other ones.
That's one of the pros of being a hermit.
I'm pretty sure that natural law tells us not to all, congregate into cities. I'm pretty sure that it tells us to, be at one with the water and be at one with natural sources of resources for, consumption and all of these things. And, no matter whatever goes on, it just seems like that natural, being one with nature, one with if you want to call it the great spirit, and that's how healers work. That's how shaman work. That's how everything works. I mean, you just got to be a little bit more in touch with energy. You just got to be a little bit more in touch with who you really are, with the powers that you have within yourself, and not giving these powers away. And you're going to get through all of these things and then some, and also set an example. So You know, I kind of hope a whole bunch of stuff crashes. And I mean, okay, I get it. I get it. People are invested into stock markets. People are invested into false money systems. People are invested into, even what we do half the time is false. I get it all. I'm part of it. I'm not saying I'm outside of it, but to really truly heal everything at one point in time, we have to return to natural. So,
Mhm.
if some of these systems break down,
Not the
we're
worst thing
going
in
to
the world.
have to find a ways around it and become more in tune with how we should be getting through these things.
Yeah. And it's definitely a wake-up call too, because I mean things are going to get worse. I mean, over time, like the people that are in charge are idiots. They can't control anything. So once
Yeah.
nature has its revenge against people for everything that we've done to the planet, there's
Yeah.
no way that we could. I mean, if like a little illness like this causes so much panic, imagine when like karma really takes effect and like all the stuff that we're doing with the pollution and the planet comes back to haunt us as a human race. Like how are people going to respond then? Like they can't even deal with something that's just a little worse than the flu, let alone like everything else that's going to come back around. So I mean, like you said, we need to get back to our roots one way or another. We will. So
Mhm.
we shouldn't really be too invested in this system and just allow it to just transpire and just take care of ourselves and other people and just take care of our own spiritual journeys and be in touch with our inner spirit and with nature, because that's something that people have. I mean, even the disconnect between spirit and nature that so many people have now, um, like that's got to go because they are one and the same. Nature is just like the physical manifestation of the spirit. It's like the tree of life, the Sephiroth, the manifested natural world is like the light side of the tree. That's like everything that's around us. But we're too confined in all of these structures that man built that we can't even see what's like right under our nose, like all the beautiful natural things around us.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely. I'm taking great notice to this little black squirrel that comes up to the window and hangs out in the tree every day, and it's so funny. That's joy. Like
Yeah.
you find your daily joy right then, and then you say to yourself, "Oh, hey, I better get going. Here I go out into the world today to get to accomplish my day." And the best part of your day was right there. And I think, yeah, it's about adding more to that. It's also being the protector beings that we truly are, and that's encompassing. That
Mhm.
doesn't just mean saving somebody from doing something completely stupid because they're listening to a politician. That
Yeah.
means, what is the system doing to nature? What is the system doing to your loved ones? What is the system doing? What is the system doing to the duck that lives in the pond across from you? When you start to incorporate all of this into it and you see a greater grasp, then you see a greater aspect of source. You see a greater
Mhm.
aspect of spirit. And then you can look at that and realize that source and spirit cares about that far more than actually cares about what we're going to accomplish a lot of the time as mankind.
Mhm.
And
Yeah, a lot of
it's
it's vanity, what we accomplish.
yeah.
Like it
Yeah.
really doesn't matter in the long run.
No, no, it doesn't matter in the long run.
Mm.
And it's actually those moments of understanding that are probably the most important factors that you'll ever even have when you're within this plane. And how are you gonna go out of here? Like, how do you feel about your journey? That's going to matter. That
Yeah, that's the
matters.
most important thing.
Yeah, so I don't know. It's we're all learning, and I hope if anything happens from this big false flag chaos that's going, that when they start to take away from these things from us, the bigger
Mhm.
mainstream things, that we can learn to let them go. That's actually doing us a favor. And, you know, if we can play our cards right through that, then you'll have a greater understanding. So,
Yeah, I've been saying all along for us really to take the next step. Like, we got to set all this crap down and get rid of it. That's got to be set aside. We got to go back to the natural ways of doing things.
yeah.
So hopefully we can. We got about 20 minutes left. Y'all want to take a call or two, maybe?
Sure.
Sure.
All right, we'll put the numbers in here and see if anybody calls. If not, we'll find them. Be that way. I'm sure somebody would like to call in, though. Yeah, Ryan hadn't got to do a call-in show with us yet, has he?
No, not yet. This is my first.
Oh, yeah.
Excellent.
It's
I
actually
did
pretty
one.
good.
I don't know if it helped anybody.
You know, I like it because you get to hear other opinions that, you know, people
Yeah.
who don't get to come on typically, and
Uh,
been working out pretty good. I'm looking into another system where I can do it, and it'll be whole set up like a call log where actually people can be on hold. And I don't know, I don't really necessarily like this whole thing here. So
Absolutely.
anyway, so
you,
what do
you
y'all
had mentioned you had a bit of a download, Brian, about some of this too, and I don't know if we've got into that, but
now I'm going to get into that Saturday.
on Saturday.
Yeah, got to edit. So it kind of
Absolutely.
ties in with some of this in a weird way, but like I said, I truly believe on the other side it's going to be for the better.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
So, are you going to be joining us Saturday, Kent?
Yeah, I think so. This Saturday. Yeah.
Okay, good deal. Yeah, well, it'll be kind of a tie off of this. Like I said, I don't know if anybody watches Jacob Israel or not. I like Jacob. You know, he's a little more towards using the Bible a lot, but you know, I think there's things to be learned there as well. Man, he put out a video the other day. You know, it just kind of put a lot of those pieces together that I'd kind of been getting these downloads from. Kind of want to get into that, and you know, that's like this appearance of the black hole, and I don't know if you remember that we've got our first picture of the black hole. Well, there's a lot of that starting to come into the collective as well. So
there is a lot going on with that, and I know, you know, Brian Lumsford sent over a pretty amazing photo that he had taken of, you know, there's definitely a light energy being in that in the photo, and it's quite impressive. But you know, these things shouldn't be that complex to us. I mean, we've all had different spiritual beings around, contacts around, you know, like, so you know, maybe there's frequencies and energies changing right now, and you know, certain things are being able to come out into plain sight a lot more. It's quite uncanny, actually. Even no matter what I do kind of different little business things. I do home inspection, I do like some construction, some driving. I'm actually building a little business right now on the side that I'm making a vehicle for, and the proceeds of that are going to go to helping to save these dogs from like the meat industry and stuff like that, to get them over. And I'm going to, you know, try to donate a lot of money from this.
any way I can help, I'd be more than happy to help anyway. We do have a caller, area code 573. Go ahead, you're on the air.
Hello, guys. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Oh, I'm fine. I just wanted to uplift you all.
Well, first of all, who are we speaking with?
This is Debbie Bell.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, I can't read minds.
Yes, you can, Brian. Yes, you can.
Don't be saying, don't be giving out no secrets. So lay it on us.
Awesome. How are you doing, Debbie?
Oh, I'm doing great, guys. I just want to lift everybody up. First of all, we all know who we are. We all have tapped into this beautiful love that we know is God, source, whatever you want to call him, the light. You know, one of the things that we need to do is look back at our childhood. We've all have good memories with our grandparents or our great-grandparents when they got done with the war. They knew what uniting was. Most of them still did the bartering system. And, you know, no matter what happens, even if we go into pure World War III, okay, even if we do that, ask yourself why the universe would allow such things. It's to unite us, guys. We are so divided. Not only are we fragmented in ourselves, in our minds, in our souls, in our past lives, the universe is trying to bring us back to, well, I guess the biblical times when in the Garden of Eden. We can make this happen again. And only because I'm right now studying alchemy, which is blowing my mind. But I didn't realize that the alchemy has to do with love and compassion and empathy. And the prophet Yeshua, even Gandhi even said this. You have no power if you don't love. And love is just not a word. We use it all the time with no attachments to it. Love is unconditional. What does that mean? What does unconditional mean to all of you? Unconditional is, yes, transparency, compassion, empathy, no judgment on yourself or anybody else. It's loving the dark. It's loving the light. It's loving the middle. It's loving everything. And when you can love yourself and forgive yourself, and you have to do this first, you have to know yourself, every part of yourself, and be able to look at yourself to clear that karma or whatever you want to call it, and to forgive it. And forgiving is using the same thing as we're supposed to do with each other. We're supposed to lift each other up, right?
Yep.
Okay. So how about lifting yourself up? I used to think that was selfish. I was taught that was selfish, matter of fact, with this religion crap. And I had to deprogram myself into believing that I am a divine spark from source. I am a chosen one. You are a chosen one. We all have a purpose. Even the dark side has a purpose. So when you judge the dark side, you're judging yourself. When you judge somebody else's behavior, you know, it was drilled into me as a kid. You'll know them by their fruits. Well, what the hell does that mean? We look at their behavior, right? But you have no idea their journey, guys. You have no idea the journey. And when you judge them, you're putting yourself above source. You're saying, I am the Almighty and I will, throw down judgment. Well, that's not the God I know. That's not the source I know. He does not judge. Right. We are not to judge ourselves. When we start looking at what's going on in the world, we are to observe, detach from it. I have, thousands of people on my Facebook. We're all laughing at this, and we're looking at it as the great movie of all time. Yes, things are collapsing, but all is well. It's supposed to collapse. Yep. We do not want to live like this anymore.
I agree 100%. I can hear the growth. You've grown exponentially.
Yeah.
I'm so happy for
you. I don't know if I've grown so much as finally coming out. I know a lot. I've been.
Speak your truth. Yeah. It's your truth. It may not be everybody else's, but it's your truth.
Yeah.
That's right, Brian. That's right. And that's what we all need to do, because each and every one of us can tap into anything, any body, any being in the universe, even the Akasha records. I'm not special. We're all special. We're all enough. And when we realize that we're enough for ourselves, we're enough for everybody else, no matter what they say or how they behave, we are enough. When I learned I'm enough, I learned to love myself.
Yep. You got it.
And you guys, I know this planet and all these terrible things, I know what's going on. I know more than I say. But you also have to understand that all of this is planned. So we can get back to being united instead of divided. All these walls that we put up, look what Trump's doing right now. The wall. Well, I remember a time when the Berlin Wall was the biggest sin of all, and when it fell down, everybody celebrated. And now Americans are building a wall. Why are we building walls? We should be tearing walls down and loving each other and lifting each other up, no matter where you are, what you believe, how you believe it, and respect each other. And respect comes from love.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yeah, tearing down the walls, tearing down the borders, tearing down the banking. All of it just needs to come down, because that's all. Like, even for a simple example, like Debbie, like you say, take the monetary system, the financial system. All it is a number system of division between each and every individual that exists. And it's exactly like a wall. It's all walls. It's all ways so that someone can have more than someone else. And that maybe for some people they need more than another person. That's kind of a personal preference thing, I think. But absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Like we need to.
Well, Ken, what we don't realize is,
real quick,
there is so much, there's enough for everybody.
Yes.
There's enough for everybody. Yeah. Everybody can have diamonds. Everybody can have food. There's no reason for people to be on the streets. This whole thing with money is, I was taught the money was the root of evil. Well, the root of evil is because when people grab more and take from others, somebody has to suffer because of it. Yep. And I'm ready for the new world. And that's what I'm calling it. Not New World Order, but the new world. The new world where everybody has everything that they need, because there's more than enough on this earth for everybody.
That's what we're bringing in too. David, you have a final thought for us? I've got another caller on hold.
No, just live in peace and love yourselves, guys. Love yourself.
Absolutely.
Love yourself.
And you better call back again. You're going to have to join us again sometime too.
Yeah, I'm having a little bit of trouble with my internet. That's all right. I'll work on it.
Well, listen, thank you for calling and love you.
I love you guys too. Bye-bye.
Area code 214, you're on the air.
Well, hey, I'm so glad to get through to y'all tonight. My name is Pam.
Nice to meet you, Pam, and welcome to the family.
Hey, I just had to kind of pipe in there because with everything that's going on now, first of all, I so very much appreciate learning who all of y'all are through our Rain Steiger and finding out about Trina. I've been on my own awakening journey for quite some time, and it's just been a very wild ride. And I love this forum that you have going on right now, because just like y'all talking about earlier, that we need to go outside. We need to get some vitamin D. We need to turn away from a lot of these ways that we are so accustomed to. And, we need more of this kind of forum here where we can gather together. I wish we could all sit around a bonfire and, shoot
One
shit.
day we shall.
That sounds like a great idea. Exactly.
Let me tell you, you're not alone anymore.
Yeah, well, and and I know that, and different things come to me, and just like the lady who was just speaking, I think it is important for us to take a moment, and the people who are on the other side, we're flipping down. The first are becoming last, the last are becoming first, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And to take a moment and have some empathy. I'm glad that I've had the hardships that I've had in my life.
Yeah.
And that I don't have to spend the rest of my life facing some real hardships and knowing and looking at the face of everyone that I've harmed. I'm thankful that I haven't had food. I'm thankful that I've been on the streets. I'm thankful for that.
Yeah.
Because where I'm going is going to be magnificent. So we need to really have some empathy for these people.
Yep.
I think that's going to be key for us to get through all this. That's all I had to say.
You know, I think it's funny though that it seems like almost every single one of us has had our trials and tribulations. I mean, you know, there's a few, but it seems like each and every one of us has been to hell and back. And I've often said it has to be to prepare us for this moment in time, because otherwise, how could you relate with others and what they're going through?
Yeah.
I think if every one of us were to really look, you know, and yeah, I know that, like, all of us have been to hell and back. Like, you know, I've been standing on balcony, not even knowing how I was getting there, with my father grabbing the back of my shirt and pulling me, and I fell onto a deck. I mean, at the point of suicide, completely out of my mind. And many other experiences. And, you know, it's funny how getting to these points just triggered, you know, like where source, the universe itself, just like grabbed me by my ass and just picked me up and sent me, you know, on a journey. And it's so funny how much fear doesn't have a grasp on you anymore once you're at these points. And then there's points as you grow out of them and you're going, that you slide back into that and you learn again, and you're out of and you're, you know, you're back on your path. And absolutely, you know, I think that those hard times that we experience sometimes are the greatest teachers. And they really allow you to go inside. You know, you spend a lot of time inside. Sometimes, unfortunately, we spend too much time inside in that negative zone. But once you can see the negative zone for what it is, and then move forward and really understand who you are, and don't think that any of these other, you know, great prophets, whether they want to be, you know, I know people talk about, you know, Jesus or Buddha or these things, whether these are the names or these are just the concepts of certain prophets or people just like we are. All of them experience this darker side and stuff like that. I truly don't believe that they're actually, I'm one of the ones that truly doesn't believe that there ever has been anyone that has ever walked this plane that hasn't experienced or screwed up in certain ways. It's too impossible of a plane to just be 100% without that. So, and it's really what you do with it.
Oh, we got another caller on hold. Pam, is there anything else you'd like to throw in?
That's it. I love the format. Y'all keep on doing what you do. Thank you.
Thank you for calling. I hope to hear from you again.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye. All right, Jules is on hold. Go ahead. You're on the air. Jules?
Can you hear me?
We can hear you now.
Excellent. You know, throughout the day, because obviously this topic with the virus is everywhere. Yep. And there's common themes I've seen throughout the day. You know, people dealing with anxiety is one of the biggest things. And then also sovereignty, how to step into your sovereignty. You know, sometimes I think when people have that anxiety and have that fear, you feel powerless. And I think people who understand what's really going on is the perfect opportunity to help reach out to those people, to help empower them, to help give them the tools so they can step into their sovereignty. And so we can turn this around and manifest whichever way we want, and not how the mainstream media or a group of, you know, a small group is trying to dictate that we should react.
We can control our own narratives and not let people be controlled by what they hear from the others, like that are forcing it onto us.
And that's why I think this breakdown could be beneficial.
Mm-hmm.
It very much could be. I mean, you know, the souls out there that I know that are very strong, individuals, and like people, like Trina and people that come on the show, Jake, like different people. I mean, we see like they see through this, and it's actually what you said there. Like this is the time for us to show. It's the time for you to not show fear to the ridiculousness and all of these, because this is when, if people need to see a leader, and we have this misconceptions of leader.
Oh yeah.
It's this fake, secret society of goofballs that become leaders. And if anybody's ever been to like a high business meeting and had to sit through one of these meetings, and you listen to these people talk, and your internal is like, these people are absolutely insane, they're completely retarded, they're completely narcissistic. That's what you're dealing with here. But in true nature, in true spiritual leadership, it's by your action. It's actually by how peaceful you are. It's by how much you can bring people through the hardships. That's what a real leader is. And it's just upside down. So if
the only way that those people could be leaders is through the system that they create. It's rigged for them because they don't have any leadership potential whatsoever. I mean, you could even look at like the presidential candidates and debates going on in the US, and people just saying crazy things, and like this is not leadership. Like what we could do to empower each other, that's leadership. Like now it's our time to shine as like people who understand like these deeper things that are going on in higher truths. Like this is time for the real leaders, which are the majority that are mostly silenced because we haven't had a voice in the past. But now it's our time to really step up and show the world like what it's all about.
Yes.
I swear, when I watch mainstream news, it's
comical.
It's like that. Well, I'm just saying, I watch it more for comedy, just to see what
exactly.
they're spewing. But in my head, I hear like that big top carnival music. Dun, 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 dun.
Oh yeah.
It's so true. I mean, leadership in a corrupt system is based, to man upon, how many women they can have, or the money they can have, and the power.
All superficial stuff. Yeah.
It's not leadership.
Superficial stuff that means nothing.
Yeah, it's garbage.
That's why we're bringing back the feminine frequency, folks. Jules, you got another thought for us before we wrap her up?
No, I think just, as much as we can connect as a community and inform each other so we can inform others, this type of forum where we, come together and get the good information about like alternative remedies, about things that empower each of us, it's just going to help turn that fear into power, and it's going to create amazing things.
Absolutely. And you just said something there that is so imperative. I think it's time that we take that next step, whatever that means. Maybe, yes, of actually forming the ways, knowing the ways, and making that part of our, our existence. And, sometimes it takes the power of knowing, knowing others in it, like the group, the forums that we have, and that's exactly it, so that we can take the talking and the understanding to basically the reality in at least in this 3D reality that we're in. And yeah, absolutely, it's very important that we do come together, and you just the souls that are here. It's quite amazing to hear people speak from their soul, as opposed or their spirit or their soul, as opposed to just the phony baloney that you have to sometimes present, or that is presented to you out in the world. And you see through those people sometimes that they really don't want to be doing it either. So,
well, Jules, thank you for calling in. Hopefully, if you ever want to join us, you send me an email at milkywayweekly@gmail.com, or anybody else out there that wants to join us sometime, send me an email. I'd love to have you. Ryan, why don't you send us out with a final thought, buddy?
Sure. Just want to let everyone know there's no fear where love resides. So just one thing, like basically I wanted to just confirm that no matter what you hear around, and I think our community knows this by now, but no matter what you hear, like just tune it out and just focus on the people that you care most about, focus on the love in your heart. So one, Archangel Michael has been with me for the past 2 weeks, and there's no coincidence on that, because if you look at what he stands for, he's all about the heart and protection. So you're protected by your own heart, by the love in your heart, because like I said, once you have love, then you don't have to worry about fear. Like everything just flows naturally. And that's one thing that's missing during times when people panic and when there's all this hysteria created. People forget to really center in the heart, and that's what we really need to do right now, to just focus on the heart and like be and shine for other people to see, and just be good to other people, care for other people, and not really focus on, like, not care about the isolation that people want us to have. Like even the whole talk about quarantining, like everybody isolated and how they're going to enforce it. So all this stuff is just nonsense. Just, I mean, I told you before what I think about the virus and how, I mean, you need to have caution for other people, but you really need to focus on your own journey and to just live in the heart and just to be there for other people and for your friends, your family, and just to focus on the heart and not the mind of fear.
Absolutely. Well said. Brother, you're gonna have to come back sooner rather than later. It's been a great show. Kent has just been all over it tonight, man. You've had some stuff to get off your chest. I'm glad to hear it.
Really?
Yeah.
There we go. I mean, yeah. I don't come with a scripted plan, that's for sure. So,
Hey, that's why I threw away the script a long time ago doing these shows. Shoot from the hip. Well,
no, it's awesome. It's great to see. And you know, Ryan, I haven't talked to you in a little bit. I mean, I know Ryan's he's a great man, and he's got a lot of spiritual wisdom there that he's, even, that I know of, that maybe not even everybody knows about. So I mean, that's amazing, and just a cool night. It was a cool experience, and I hope we all go away from this without fear of what's going on, and let's manifest the best things that we can from every experience. This is just another experience in the ride of life. So you know what I mean? Call it whatever we want to call it. Like, so that's just,
I'll say my mom she likes Ryan. She was excited he was going to be back on.
Awesome.
It's been great to be back on with you guys. It's always a great time.
Always. Well, listen, you two stick right here with me, folks. I don't have a show planned tomorrow night, but you never know. But we will be back Saturday for sure for Trinity of Truth. And trust me, folks, you do not want to miss this show. Major downloads coming through. So until then, be the frequency you want to receive, folks. And listen, prepare, don't scare. I love you all. Have a good night.